rise and pledge the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rita, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Gainer?
Here.
Mr. Stanley?
Here.
Mr. White?
Here.
Mr. Orthwein?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes. We have ordinance number 14/1. Rita, would read word second reading?
An ordinance of the Town Commission of the Town of Gulfstream, Palm Beach County, Florida, amending the Town Code of Ordinances by creating a new Chapter 31 titled Parking and Offenses on Town Hall and Police Department property, prohibiting the parking, standing, or stopping of any vehicle in the Town Hall lot located at 100 C Road, Gulfstream, Florida, or in the parking lot of the town's police department located at 246 C Road, Gulfstream, Florida, between the hours of 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. of any day, providing an exception for town employees or invited guests conducting official business within Town Hall or the town police department during said hours, providing for regulations on parking within the Town Hall parking lot between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., providing that no vehicles of any kind shall be parked or left unattended in the parking area or driveway to the south of Town Hall except vehicles of town employees or those conducting business within Town Hall during the time said vehicle is parked, prohibiting the placement and or leaving unattended any object or on the exterior grounds of Town Hall property or the property of the town's police department unless said object is owned, possessed, or erected by the town, providing a penalty for violation, providing for the towing of any vehicle parked in violation of this code or the removal of objects placed or which are unattended in violation of this code, providing for severability, providing for repeal of ordinances in conflict, providing for codification, providing an effective date. This is presented for second reading and adoption this 29th day of April 2014.
Any-
And
I'm
passed
sorry?
first read, I'm sorry, it passed first reading on the 14th day of April.
Any comments, discussion? Do I hear a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Rita?
Commissioner Gainer?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwein?
Yes.
Mayor Morgan?
Yes. Next is resolution number 14-04. You can read that as well.
This is resolution 14-04, a resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Gulfstream, Palm Beach County, Florida, naming authorized signatories for the Town of Gulfstream bank accounts and providing an effective date. And my copy has disappeared. I will use it down there. It'll probably end up in an ad hoc meeting tomorrow morning. Thank you. Whereas the town manager and town clerk are authorized to sign checks drawn on accounts entitled Town of Gulfstream, and whereas all 5 members of the town commission are authorized to sign checks drawn on accounts entitled Town of Gulfstream, now therefore be it resolved by the Town Commission of Town of Gulfstream, Florida, that Section 1, Scott W. Morgan, Mayor, Robert W. Ganger, Vice Mayor, Joan K. Orthwein, Commissioner, Thomas M. Stanley, Commissioner, Donna S. White, Commissioner, William H. Thrasher, Town Manager, and Rita L. Taylor, Town Clerk, are all named as authorized signatories on all bank accounts in the name of the Town of Gulfstream. Section 2, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage, passed and adopted this 29th day of April 2014.
Comments or discussion? Motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Sorry. Rita?
Commissioner Ganger.
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley.
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwein.
Yes.
Mayor Morgan.
Yes. Move to the next item of business, consideration of establishment of a financial ad hoc committee. I'm proposing that the commission approve or authorize an a committee made up of residents in the town who bring special expertise in financial matters. They might be having experience or knowledge in large or mid-sized company structuring, large financial institutions, but by their collective experience can assist the town in its handling of financial matters, and in particular addressing our diminishing reserves. As you'll recall from the last meeting, the last commission meeting, our reserves in the town had dropped to the upper 700,000s. They are continuing to drop as a result of increasing and frequent legal fees. We also have commitments for the decorative lighting and signage, and there is also the potential out there for a significant cost increase due to EMS and fire should Delray Beach decide to join the county. And so for that reason, I think it is an opportunity for the town to use what has really blessed this town, and that is the knowledge and experience of our residents to help us, not to solve our problems, but to help advise us, perhaps give us some guidance in alternatives, options that might be open to us to address those reserves. Any questions, comments, or discussion of that?
I fully agree with the notion of using the town's resources for our best interest, and we're lucky to have some really talented people in town who can jump in, and they've dealt with these kinds of problems in their business or financial careers. I would say, however, that it probably would be a good idea, before we start naming names and giving assignments, to have some form of goal setting on this dais that is a map of where we want to go and what we need to get there. Because I don't think at this point in time we've really thought through changes in the way we approach how we organize, what our goals are, any goals that we don't have on the list now, but should over the next 2 or 3 years. Because financing things without knowing what is it you're financing is not necessarily the best practice. So my belief is that we should, in real haste, before Mr. Thrasher starts pulling together a budget for next year, is have a clear map of where we want to go, what we need to do, what kind of reserves we should have in the event that things don't work out the way we want them to, and do that in a public way, ideally with some of the very same people who might join us in your ad hoc financial committee. It's, coming to the business world, it's really kind of bizarre to me to be starting a budget planning season. When do you actually start, Bill? When do you?
April, May.
Yeah, April, May. So we're just at the front end of that. And we've got some unexpected events that clearly are going to make it more complicated to pull a sensible budget together. And the last thing we want to do is it August that we have to submit to the county? September. Okay, but August we're pretty much along. You don't want to.
That's right.
So that we don't have a whole lot of time, and I really would like to have an opportunity, as the county recently had a workshop or planning session with professional resources to help them think through. They did a SWOT analysis, strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats, just like a business would. They identified actually that I believe the county manager, and this is done in some municipalities as well, kind of laid out what the priorities might be. Palm Beach recently did this, laid out the priorities, and then independently the commissioners, not together, but kind of looked at the priorities and said, this is the most important one, I think, and somebody else might say, no, I don't think that's important. I think it ought to be something else, and that gave an opportunity for some dialogue in front of the public to determine, what are the key things that we have to accomplish, and what's the best way to accomplish them. So, this could be done simultaneously. I'm not suggesting that you should step back because some of these people that you would like on an ad hoc committee probably aren't going to be available for much longer. But again, I think we have to be realistic and say, we need to think through what are our goals, what's the most important things we have to accomplish, and give Bill sufficient amount of time to be able to think through what's going to cost us to do the things that we say we want to do, and then have some trade-offs, because inevitably you'll have, the list will be larger than your resources will allow.
I think it's a very good point, well said. My main objective in promoting this special meeting is to get it set up for the reasons that you mentioned. Budget time is upon us. The talent that I see in the town will be leaving.
Yep.
And so I think there is some degree of urgency to it, but my main focus, I might say, is the reserves. How do we buttress those reserves? How do we secure them? How do we strengthen and increase them? And that was my point for bringing this committee together. But you're right, Bob, there probably are some other avenues for them to look at as well. It may involve the spending, the general budgetary spending, that may affect the reserves. So I think your comments are wise, and perhaps we should use this time to perhaps approve the committee, defer until the next commission meeting, the regular commission meeting on the 9th, to perhaps have Mr. Thrasher come up with a few points that he would like to see that this committee address.
I agree.
Other comments, questions?
No, go ahead.
Just sounds like to me that what we're kind of looking for, I guess, is from what Bob's comments was maybe a budget workshop, which either could be a separate meeting, just a separate meeting along with the ad hoc committee, or at some point before Bill starts finalizing his numbers. It could be only one. We don't have a huge budget. And that would also help with the goal setting prior to the ad hoc committee. I know we're kind of pressed for time, but that would be the typical procedure. Is you'd have, since we're small, one budget workshop to accomplish what Bob wants, and then you have the ad hoc committee kind of getting together at the same time, building his points. I don't know if we've done one here.
There really hasn't been one,
Yeah.
but I think that, I think it's a good idea. I think there are a lot of things that need to be done in the town, and we should have a financial plan for the next 10 years, whether it be the water mains or the roads or something, and really paint out exactly what we're going to need financially. I think we're going to get more money coming on the tax rolls pretty soon, I hope, which can help with the fund balance. The 4001 is going to come on the tax rolls, and hopefully the Spence property will finish up. So we are going to get more and more money, but I think we do need to have a plan of where we're going, because I think the town hall's getting a little small sometimes, and there's a lot of infrastructure that needs to be addressed long term. That the financial planners probably could help.
Well, those are all good points, and I guess Tom's suggestion, perhaps first of a workshop to help identify the structure of the committee, the direction that it would go, because it's going to be very important to tighten it up and give them guidance, would be important. What sort of time frame would we be looking at with us to do that workshop?
Sooner the better. I don't, as Tom says, this isn't rocket science, but there are some things that I think we need to just step back and say, look, we've lived rather penuriously for a long period of time. We've just encountered huge unexpected expenses that could literally drive us into a very poor financial situation. And thank goodness we haven't had a hurricane for a while, but there's the next one out there could be the one that hits us. The thought that a town whose value is probably pretty close to $1 billion doesn't even have it doesn't even have $1 million in its reserves and obviously not that the town would cover the cost of a catastrophic event, but you still have that cash. FEMA doesn't pay for quite a while, and we could find ourselves in a situation where there's considerable damage to our homes that affect their property values. And boy, you say, yeah, our property taxes are probably going to be richer in the days ahead. We all hope that's the case. But if not, if we have
a hurricane.
a major hurricane.
Yeah.
Not if we have a major hurricane. So I think the sooner we get at it, the better. And I'd schedule it, as quickly as possible. Do you have in mind some people that you would wish to have on this committee?
I mean, other than perhaps Mr. Boardman,
Mhm.
with his experience, some of the financial services people I
Mhm.
think would be important, and there are a host of them.
Mhm.
But other than that, I haven't given it that much thought. I think we all need to think about it. I'm kind of looking to the commission to put their hats on. And I think these ideas that all of you have come up with are very good ones in terms of identifying exactly what this committee should be doing. And really, it's more of a very long-term goal, as John pointed out. Yeah, we can address just the reserves this year, but we really need to be looking a decade ahead.
Mhm.
So,
There is some risk, from personal experience. Many of our coastal towns have some real heavy hitters in the financial services industry and in finance. And sometimes they are so smart that they overwhelm the commission or the public in terms of some almost financial engineering to achieve objectives. We've got to make darn sure that we're dealing very practically. A little pot of money in reserves, but we also, we're just not going to get in a situation where we're going to start going crazy, borrowing money or doing things that is just not our style. And I think
and it never has been.
no, and I think that our residents would be shocked if they thought we were going into some kind of a tricky financial mode. So I think selling this proposition has to be something that, one, they participate in. Really, I think as we set goals, they have to understand that our goals are relatively modest. And just pretty much like to keep things the way they are and continue to focus on the beauty of the town and the safety, our
Yeah,
resiliency.
the budget takes care of itself. It is those emergency issues
Mhm.
that are concerning, and, as well as the ongoing litigation costs, which are incurred at this point in time. Since the last meeting, our reserves are now down in the lower 700s. So these fees come in, we have over 20 lawsuits to defend, we have legal matters such as these ordinances, we have addressing any number of issues that have come up, legitimately or illegitimately, and they have to be addressed. So it's those uncertain costs that concern me. And as I said, we're not looking for actual solutions, I think, from this committee. More suggestions,
Mhm.
advice.
Mhm.
It's up to us to make those
Mhm.
decisions. So I guess we would turn next to a workshop date and time for us to get together, and I don't think it would take that long. I think we're probably pretty much all on the same page as to what we want to do.
I think it won't take long if we're prepared. And I think there is some obligation on us as commissioners to kind of establish our own minds, perhaps with the town manager's help in terms of, as he thinks about his priorities, it would be useful to have some of that information, and in particular for us to have thought through in terms of goals, what are the most important things that we absolutely have to accomplish. And I agree with you, one of them is to make sure that our reserves are sound. We just can't live on the brink.
Okay, what's everyone's schedule like next week?
the same rules apply in terms of scheduling a workshop as scheduling any public meeting?
As far as notifications,
Mhm.
yes, however, keep in mind, you don't have a committee appointed as yet, and you won't be able to make motions or take action at a workshop to make appointments. Is that right, Council?
Right, if it's strictly a workshop, you would not be able to make a motion.
That's right.
That's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, no, I.
You could even invite some of the people that,
Yeah.
to come to this workshop.
Well, I
You
think
might
that,
not know.
for sure, without public participation, this is kind of a weak read. I would hope we would have adequate public participation.
Well, then we should just set a tentative date,
Yeah.
because that may need to be changed. So whoever has calendars with them, take a quick look.
You have a regular meeting on on the 9th,
On the 9th.
Friday.
and I understand the existing ad hoc committee is gonna have another meeting next week.
Okay, well then this may not be done, that may be pushing it.
I don't know which day, I'll know in the morning, because they're gonna meet in the morning.
You don't know which day the ad hoc committee?
No, because they really hadn't planned to have. They had planned on this one tomorrow being the last one, but they've got some loose ends to tie up. And so we don't know when the gentlemen that are on that committee and lady will be available next week.
Right.
They've been meeting on Wednesdays, but can't count on that.
Is our commission meeting lengthy? Do you have any idea?
It doesn't, at this point, it doesn't seem like it's too lengthy. You don't have any applications.
Yeah, other than the 9th, I'm not that great until the week of the 19th through the 23rd.
How
Sometimes
about afterwards?
after the
Commission
commission meeting, that's why I was thinking if
Yeah.
it's a short commission meeting, it'd be good, we're all here.
We're all here.
And a lot of people are trying to come to the commission meetings.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that seems reasonable at this point because it's pretty uncertain as to dates. So why don't we do that? Workshop meeting to be held at the conclusion of the commission meeting.
Do you have to have a time certain to start a workshop that follows a commission meeting?
No, you can say immediately following and we
Okay.
close it.
Okay.
So with that in mind, I guess we would need a motion for that.
I'll move to recommend that we hold a special meeting for a workshop. I mean, not a special meeting, a workshop right after.
You
Following
just do it by
immediately.
consensus, you don't need a motion.
Okay,
No?
If
Fine
there's
with me.
consensus to
Yeah,
hold the
yeah,
meeting at that
great.
point.
Then that's
then
still-
it's-
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
That being done.
Not to belabor this, are we going to see who wants to be part of this, or see how this is going to go, or who might have some interest?
Yeah, I think we need to do that.
Okay.
Talk to some people and see who
Yeah.
might express some interest in it. Some may not.
Yeah.
Do we need to establish the qualification for the committee or the number or anything at this time?
I don't think so. Just my own thoughts. I initially was thinking of it small, but then the more I thought about it, kind of like the old 3M company meetings where they had a group of people and threw ideas against the wall and saw it stuck. And I think that's what I'm envisioning here. So we could discuss that at our workshop. Okay. And so we need to establish that committee now. I don't believe continue to form it at the workshop. Any other comments about that matter? Okay. If there's nothing else. Any words from the public regarding the agenda items that we discussed?
Yes, is there a public comment portion of this meeting?
Only on agenda items, but
Very good. I hoped I could have spoken to this before you voted. I'm not sure how many of you have read the comprehensive land use plan registered with the state, but it has a recreational element. It says that acres and acres of land are devoted to public use for open recreation, but it says public and private use. But in effect, there's really only one little tiny spot that's available to the general public for recreation, and that's a patch of beach at the east terminus of C Road. The comprehensive land use plan element also says town hall parking is the beach parking for that use. Now, your ordinance effectively eliminated 20% of that parking, and 50% of the time that parking could be used for beach access. So you've effectively, by ordinance, amended your comprehensive land use plan, which violates a state statute. I wanted to bring that to your attention before you voted on it. I've used the parking lot to go to the beach. It's the only place in town you could do that. Now I'm aggrieved because the intensity of the use, which the state statute specifically addresses intensity of a land use, has been amended, but without the proper protocol. And what this really calls into account here is, are you being represented properly? Now, for instance, when my attorneys make a motion, it costs me a few $100s, but I look through the bill and you spend a few $1,000s. No, I'm glad you brought Sweet Apple on, because I think perhaps more responsibility could be shifted to him. I just don't think the town's being represented very well.
Okay, that's not really what we're discussing right now, Mr. O'Hare, but I do appreciate your comments.
Well, I hope you take that under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public?
Good afternoon. I always like to follow Mr. O'Hare. My name is Martin O'Boyle. Mr. O'Hare is correct. The statute is 163.3164. The ordinance which you passed this afternoon, I'm struggling with it. I'm struggling with the enforceability, and I'm struggling with the constitutionality. And it strikes me as one that is designed to chill speech, to hamper political discourse. I have my truck out here. It's got a yellow banner on it, in case somebody didn't see it. If somebody touches that truck, I can tell you, you're going to be in litigation again. Again. Now, I don't want to be in litigation with you. I really don't, whether you believe it or not. It seems to me that, I think I read that the town was incorporated in 1925, that is. So we're almost 90 years. And I've lived here 32 years, and I don't know of a problem. The only problem is the chilling of speech that this commission appears to be doing. I see no other. Someone else could show me the way. I would be highly appreciative. If they can't show me the way, I'm going to assume that I'm correct, and I believe in my heart of hearts that I am correct, because I can't think of any other reason that you would do what you would do. So, I would ask you to reconsider that ordinance. I would ask you to not enforce that ordinance, and I would ask you to do so on the basis of political discourse is good. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. And to allow it is a good thing, and in lieu of that, if you try to chill speech, you're going to find yourself in a civil rights lawsuit. And that's all I have to say, and I hope everyone has a good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. O'Boyle. Anything else?